So, Michael, Maresca not saying too much, but we know that Chelsea have expressed an interest with about Garnacho. So where are we with that?
It's a player who is under consideration for Chelsea at present. Now, it might have to rely on potentially Nkunku moving on. João Felix has only just joined as well. But we've seen already from Enzo Maresca, who's usually one of the most open managers, I feel, in press conferences. He likes to work with a tightish squad, seems to have his plan for when he plays in domestic competitions in Europe. But obviously we have to remember as well, there's another team at play here. Napoli had a bid rejected from Manchester United. Our colleagues in Italy are telling us that maybe United have perhaps lowered the demands but haven't reached a figure yet acceptable for Napoli. So you do wonder if there is an acceptable figure that Manchester United would consider. But unlike other Manchester United players, he's still being featured under Ruben Amorim.
Yeah, I don't think actually United want to sell Garnacho, but we've been talking about throughout this transfer window about, untouchables in squads, various squads, and there aren't that many. A player like Alejandro Garnacho, the optics, I agree, wouldn't look great if they allowed someone like that to leave, but the financial situation at United and at other clubs is such that if a suitable offer was to come in, I'm not saying United would definitely sell, they would have to look at it. They have to look at every kind of offer that comes in.
But if they've lowered their valuation of him, that's them indicating to everybody he's for sale, isn't it?
Yes and no, because it's still a substantial figure that clubs would have to get to, and they haven't managed to get to yet. And so it's one of those situations, and Michael mentioned it there, and it's one of those areas where Garnacho, is he almost a victim of Amorim's style and his formation? Because where does he actually fit in? He's a winger, but Amorim's playing with two number 10s and wing backs. Does he fit into either of those? Maybe not, but Amorim has actually said he's learning and he will continue to learn in that position. So almost alluding to maybe a longer-term future at United for Garnacho.
Chelsea valuing Nicholas Jackson at £80 million and they see Garnacho at £30 million. What do you make of the numbers there, Charlotte? They were a bit surprising to me.
Yeah, from people I've spoken to around Manchester United, I'm sure Miguel's the same. I think Manchester United would not want to pay £80 million for Nicholas Jackson, and if that was how much they were asking for him, I think they would step away from the deal, especially if Garnacho was only going the other way for £30 million, because Manchester United have still got to then pay £50 million for a player who, yeah, he scored more goals than Rasmus Højlund, but he's hardly set the Premier League alight himself either, has he? So I think if you were comparing Nicholas Jackson with Ollie Watkins, for example, all hypothetical, because at this time, obviously, Villa are still saying they're not selling. Out of the two of them on paper, I think you'd opt towards going towards someone like Watkins. He is a proven Premier League goalscorer that's been more effective than Nicholas Jackson has so far, and the price tag for him would be lower. So, I mean, there's lots of ifs and buts, but yeah, I think Manchester United would want to recoup more than £30 million for Garnacho. Obviously, he's a homegrown player. That definitely helps in terms of PSR, full profit for him. And I don't think they would value Nicholas Jackson at £80 million. So if there was anything to progress in that deal, I think both of those numbers would have to go in the opposite directions.
Chelsea and the horse trading that Manchester United seemingly might have to get involved in as they look to send players out, bring players in, but also balance the PSR.
So yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, obviously we all know Amorim wants this huge overhaul, but that overhaul is not possible without sales that allow PSR headroom. And of course, it's complicated by the fact there are about now four players, given Rashford has gone to Barcelona, that Amorim absolutely wants out. So, the maths don't quite up, so they're going to have to come up with some solutions. And one of the ones I've heard of and that I've written about there was they've been speaking to both Chelsea and Villa about Garnacho, and obviously, yeah, that's been raised, as Charlotte said there, with the Watkins situation. But there was also similar broached with Chelsea, Chelsea have a long-standing interest in Garnacho. Going back to January, a deal didn't get done then because the price was too high. At that point, I think it was United wanted around 68 million. From what I hear and what I've written tonight, there's still a considerable difference in valuation, because while it had been spoken about how maybe Nicholas Jackson go the other way, Chelsea wants 80 million for him. They've been good sellers this summer, Chelsea. They got some high prices of players that they haven't necessarily wanted. The latest today being João Felix. That's a sort of capability United would love to have, given some of their difficulties. But on the other side, Chelsea don't want to pay more than 30 million for Garnacho. Now, of course, some of this is a little like with Villa, a negotiation tactic or a stance that you set out. But it shows maybe right now Chelsea are operating in the market from a position of strength, even though they do need to sell players, whereas Manchester United are having to make things happen, and that's going to, I suppose, influence a lot of deals.
Yeah, just looking at the numbers in your piece, I know you've touched on